Martin O'Neill has labelled this Rangers team the worst one in 30 years. Ali Mccoist says he's in agony. On back to Fog Football, yeah, it's one of those periods. It's one of those times where it's not really good to talk about Rangers, but we're going to talk about them nonetheless. So yeah, Martin O'Neill, worst team in 30 years. We'll get into McCoist's comments. It's a really bad Rangers team. There's no shying away from it. Is it the worst Rangers team that's been in a top flight? And I think that is the key difference maker. It's one of, and what I mean by one of, I mean, you're literally looking at those couple of years that we had when we got into the league and then before Gerrard came in, but even then, man, I think there's two players in those teams that would fit in here and vice versa. So we'll see. We will see how this goes. But let's dive into it. Let's not beat around the bush. Let's see what Ali McCoist said while he was speaking on Talk Sport. And I quote, well, this being the worst Rangers team in 30 years is up for debate. As the fact of the matter is, they went down to the third division. Everything else he says is 100% right. End of quote. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. When it rains, it pours. Absolutely. Everything else he says is right. You know what I mean? It is honestly... The team is toiling. It is going nowhere. I'm hearing this argument for Clement. There's potential in this team. And I'm not going to steal it, right? I'm not going to steal this line from you and Cameron and Stephen Mill because they were talking about the fact that he said that, right? It's like they broke down the team. Like, where is the potential? Where is the young players? Like, what, Yefty, Barron? You look at the rest of the squad. Butland in his 30s. Suter almost in his 30s. Proper 31. Tavernier 33. Right, maybe Diamandé's young as well, so we'll fire him in, right? But then you've got Tierney, who's a lone player, so I wouldn't even count him. Tom Lawrence, who's 30, right? Then you've got Cyril Dessers, who's 30. It's like, where is the potential in this team? They talked about the fact that he brought on Leon Balogun. And again, where is the potential? And once you start talking about potential and then you look at your squad and think, this is actually pretty... There's a lot of, veteran players in here. You've got to turn it around, look in the mirror and blame Philip Clement. See if Clement was using this argument, right, and he was starting the youngsters like Bailey Rice and Cole McKinnon, Adam Devine, Zach Lovelace, players like that, Leon King, I'd be like McCausland's obviously been a part of the first team now for a while, so I'm not going to throw him in there. But see if he was starting them week in, week out, and you could see something, and these young players were beginning to show something. I could accept this potential excuse. I'm not accepting it. I'm not accepting it, man. It's done. It's done. McCoist went on to say, and I quote, "It's agony to hear, but he's right what he says. There is a massive gulf between the teams at this moment in time. He's also right that Rangers are capable of going there or anywhere and getting a result, but to do it consistently on a regular basis, nah, miles off it. I don't think there's going to be an immediate quick fix, sadly. That's the problem." Martin, who generally and nearly always speaks an awful lot of sense, is probably spot on then, sadly. And that's the end of the quote there. And you're hearing he's spot on. McCoist is using words like sadly, agony, miles off it, consistently, no chance, regular basis. It is... What is going on, man? Like, what is that? What is going on? The guy needs to go. Clement needs to go. Rolling contract for this pathetic Diddy team. Because it is a team made up of Diddy men at Rangers, and we need to bring someone in on a rolling contract. And you know what? I'm going to keep saying it. Every fed, every stream, rolling contract is the way forward. Martin O'Neill was alright for Celtic on a rolling contract. So was Ange. And see the guy that you're linked with? Oh, I'm not going to sign a rolling contract. I want guarantees. I want securities. Nah! fuck you, whoever this theoretical guy that we're linked with is. We can't be doing this every time the leaves fall through the tree and turn orange and yellow, folks, right? We can't, and that's, a wee autumn reference there. We can't do it. We can't, man. Can't keep going on. You can't sack a manager every year. You know what I mean? You can't. And the way to stopping that is rolling contracts. Sack Clement, bring a guy in, we'll know in May if there's any sort of, and I think that's actually a key difference. Me and him ranted half an hour back and forth yesterday, right? See Michael Beale at the end of the 22-23 season. It didn't feel as bad as what Clement did it feel at the end of I wanted him gone at the end of last season. You know what I mean? And I predicted Rangers to win the league with Beale for 23-24. It's either 24-25. I didn't predict them to win. So maybe Big Phil is worse than Beale, but we're not going down there. We're not going down that rabbit hole. But yeah, agony for Mccoist. It is painful, man, but it's painful, but in a weird way, it's like you're just numb to the pain. Like that goal went in at the weekend. I was sitting there. It was just silence. It was depression. It was like, what's going on? Marley Watkins pokes it into the back of the net. I didn't feel angry. I just felt numb. And that is a good song by Linkin Park, but not when you're watching Rangers, sadly.